Presenting Deo's Unreal Engine Tools. It's a pair of tools designed to work in editor mode inside Unreal Engine, allowing level and environment artists to speed up object randomization and propagation using both tools. How to install it? The process is very simple to integrate into any project. Once you download the zip file, open it and drag the two folders inside into your Unreal project's root directory. Then go to the top menus and go to Edit, Plugins. Here you'll see a large panel. Simply type PCG at the top and select the first option for procedural content generation. This will ask you to restart Unreal. After this, you will have access to both tools, the propagator and the randomizer. They are located on the top right of the toolbar, represented by a gear icon. Once open them, you will get them from the menu in Tools, Editor Utility Widgets. These both tools have a user interface to have a better and visual feedback to the user. Let's start using the randomizer tool. This tool allows you to randomize multiple objects at once in a natural way, regardless of how many objects you are selecting. Select the objects to work with. Then click on the first button to load actors. Immediately, all the selected objects in the scene will be deselect, but they will now be loaded into the tool. You can even see how many objects are stored. Right now we are focusing on the rotation parameters using this group of rocks, specifically the Z-axis. Simply use the slider to set the rotation range, and as soon as you release the mouse, each object will receive a different rotation. Also, you can use the random seed to get a new values. Now, let's jump into another group of standing rocks. The process is the same. First, select the objects to manipulate, and then click on Load the Actors button, and select the rotation range you like. Now we are going to add scale parameters. You have maximum and minimum ranges to achieve a better random scale. But in this case, you can separate the min range for all three axes, giving you complete control over the X, Y, and Z axes, and also apply different random seed values, or just get back to a simple parameters. Now, you can play with the rotation and scale random seed to generate different values. Additionally, you can set larger values in the max range to have more control. And finally, just use the Apply button to store all of these changes on each actor selected in the scene. Now, just start experimenting with more and more elements using the rotation and scale options. This process allows the level designer or environment artist to manually place each element in the scene to achieve specific details, while providing the option to quickly adjust rotations and scales. Now, let's add the third option, which is position. This section contains more parameters. The range now includes a complement called range in units, which allows you to choose from centimeters or meters. Additionally, you can add a range by axis with negative to positive values to introduce more variation in the new positions. Now it's clear that we have absolute control to randomize, no matter how many objects you need to control by groups. The idea is that once you get used to the process, it will become faster and faster. You can keep adding elements and immediately see variations on each one. The randomizer offers an easy and intuitive graphical interface. And the best part is that you can keep working inside Unreal in editor mode. This allows the artist to achieve their visual goals quickly. Let's finish with the propagator tool. Go to the toolbar and click on the gear icon. Then, click on Spline Base Parameter. This allows you to create a spline rectangle, enabling you to move its points to the desired locations for propagating objects on a terrain or mesh. The key to propagating on a surface is ensuring that the small box icon overlaps with the surface or terrain. Use the green button to refresh any changes. Now, start adjusting the spacing to spawn objects within the spline. Now in the Subpoints tab, you can add a grid with child objects. start manipulating the box size of the grid to adjust the layout of the spawned objects. You can decide how many objects you want on the grid using the space every. Also, you can remove grid points from the center using the center mask. Now let's replace the dummy meshes with the real ones to see the results, using the Mesh to Point tab section. Here, you will have two types of meshes, the main prop and the sub-props. You can add as many main props as needed, and you can also create a list of sub-props as required. Now let's add natural variations to remove the visual pattern on the main or sub-points objects. You can use the random section on the main or sub-points to make it happen. Additionally, you can go back and add more meshes to the main or sub-points as needed. To break the pattern, use the Spread option in the Sub-Point tab. Additionally, you can add box or cylinder mask volumes to remove the propagated objects from the surface. You can also use any mesh to use it as mask. Now, let's switch to using a terrain mesh. We will use the surface slope parameters to control the placement of objects according to the surface slope. You can use only as main points or using subpoints. You can use the tilt of the surface or set a straight direction to the sky for the main point objects. And start adding real meshes from the subpoints. Just start experimenting with the values of the main points and their subpoints. Then load new meshes to see the result as needed. And this is all. I hope you enjoy using these tools.